Alright, welcome to the video series on probability, and in this video we're going to have a look at counting outcomes. So firstly we'll see what outcomes are, and then we'll look at ways to visually represent them with tree diagrams and also the idea of the sample space. So firstly, let's have a look and see what exactly outcomes are. So an outcome here in probability is a result of a trial of an experiment. And what an experiment here means is it's a repeatable procedure, a repeatable method where no matter how many times you run it, it's going to have the same well-defined set of possible results. And then a trial is like an individual run-through of the experiment. It's like an individual go of it, or you could say an instance of the experiment. So let's have a look at a basic experiment. So in this experiment we're going to have a look at tossing a coin once and looking at the possible outcomes. So to use the terminology from above, each trial of the experiment corresponds to one flip of the coin, or one toss of the coin. And we'll also assume that what we're using is what we call a fair coin, which is one that won't land on its side, and it'll be heads as many times as it'll be tails. So we have all the information we need to know to chart the possible outcomes. So it should be clear that if it's not going to land on its side, and it is going to land on one face or the other, the outcomes are going to be heads or tails. And there's no alternative, it's a binary thing. And then tree diagrams are a way of representing visually the possible outcomes. So say we're here at the start and the coin isn't flipped, so technically it's neither heads nor tails. And then when we flip it, it's going to go one of two routes. It's going to be H or T. And this is quite basic at the moment, but say when we're looking at more complex things like flipping coins multiple times or rolling dice, this will become pretty handy. And then the last thing to cover in this video is the idea of the sample space. So the sample space is the set of possible outcomes. So we'll call it S, and we use the set bracket notation. So it's the set of possible outcomes. So one possible outcome is heads, and the other only possible outcome is T. If there were more outcomes, we could list them ... all different outcomes, but because there's only two, that's the sample space for this experiment. So hopefully the video was helpful, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.